Hello lovely humans, it's Loretta with Sparrowhawker Designs. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to learn a couple more stitches. Welcome back to Circles and Stitches. So this week, I'm going to do like I did last week. I'm just going to, I just made the circle off camera. And then I'm going to show you the stitches that I did to make it. That seemed to actually work out a lot better for me. Just to go ahead. Because then, as I said in a previous video, you know, wool is not cheap. And if I kept messing up on the video and had to rip the stitches out and start over, my wool was starting to break down. And so it was just much easier for me to just make the circle, and then now I will show you how to make the stitches. So this is what I made for this week. So this is called turkey work or turkey stitch. I love it. I think it is so much fun. And then I did the turkey stitch inside of this ring, which I will show you how to do that too. And then I did a French knot, which you already know how to do. And then here is yet another variation on a closed blanket stitch. So let's see, week one, where is week one? So week one we learned just the regular blanket stitch. And then this was week two. And week three. And then week four we learned a closed blanket stitch. And so along with the spider web weave. So if you look at them, you can probably figure out just what I've done. It's just like an extra stitch inside of there. So anyway, let's see. I think that's it. Now this week I am going to be using a hoop, just because it's easier to like I don't normally use a hoop. Like I would probably not use a hoop on this. Well, I didn't use a hoop on there, but it seems like to demonstrate it, I need to be able to keep it a little without it moving around as much. So I'm going to use a hoop to show you how to do it, but you do not have to, and you can if you want to. You can do whatever you want. So to get this this little ring, here's what I used on this block. I used a size 8 pearl cotton for all of the stitching except the turkey work. The turkey work I used a regular DMC floss, cotton floss, and I used all 6 strands. So for this I just used a regular size 9 embroidery needle. I'm going to do the demonstration in orange because it shows up better. On the DMC floss, since you're using all 6 strands, it might be hard to thread your needle if you're just using a standard size 9 embroidery needle. So you can bump it up to a little bit bigger needle that has a little bit bigger eye. It's not really going to matter, because it's not like you have to have these little stitches, or you know, it's not like you have to have a bunch of control over your needle or anything. So if you want to use a bigger needle with a bigger eye, you go right on ahead. I will leave a link to as much of this as possible. And then, as always, I used a glue stick to, you know, just enough to keep the circles down while I was working on it. You know, if you don't want to use a glue stick, you can use the Coats & Clark Summer Brown cotton thread to do a basting stitch because it blends in. The only other thing, so for the rings, I used these little, they're knitting rings actually. So these are colored, and they came from, I think it's Clover, is the brand on these. And these are a little bit, they're not as round. I think these are a little flatter. You know, they're not as rounded. They're kind of flat. So you're going to get a different effect if you use the flatter ones, but you can, by all means, use the flatter ones. I do not have the original packaging for these, but oops, I dropped one. You can see they come in different sizes, and these are, you know, a lot more round. So I think this is the one I used, so put that one aside. These are the same things that you can use for Dorset buttons, and mostly knitters use them to like their ring mark, you know. I don't knit, so I don't know. Knitting is one of those things that I have never been able to master. Like I can knit and I can purl, but I can't figure out like, I can't figure out how to fix my, like if I make a mistake, I just have to rip everything out and start over. I can't figure out how to fix it. So I never pursued that. You can also, well, I did pursue it, and then I got really frustrated. So anyway, you can see that they even come even bigger and thicker. Now you could also use, like, you know, like your soda bottles, how you have that safety on them, and you open it and you have that little ring. You could even use that if you wanted to. Again, it's not a perfectly rounded edge, so you're going to get a little bit different effect, but that's okay. You got to use what you got, right? I apologize for my hands. I was dyeing fabric yesterday, and oh yeah, I was going to show you guys. So I've been commissioned to do a journal for a woman who is a poet. So I'm a little nervous about this because she's kind of serious, you know. So and a lot of my journals have a real whimsical side to them, so you know. Anyway, her favorite colors are like gray and brown and tan and yellow. And so I wanted to show you, here's a piece of trim that I had. This is the original color. And and then this, I dyed this in just a regular coffee bath. But then I did a green tea and saffron. And look how yellow that turned out. Isn't that pretty? I just thought that was just so cool. So I did this with, I did some green tea bags, not saffron, oh, for Pete's sake, turmeric. Sorry about that. So I did a green tea, and then I had a couple of green tea that had turmeric in it, and then I just took some turmeric and just sort of dashed it in the water a little bit, and everything in there turned out just this beautiful yellow. It's so, and it's just such an organic yellow, you know. It's not like it doesn't look like a fake, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but I just thought they turned out lovely. So yeah, so that's the original, this is the coffee bath, and then that's the turmeric and green tea. And I just thought that was just pretty. Anyway, so those are the colors I'm going to be working with for her journal that I have to have done by March 1st. So yeah, anyway. Okay, so if you would also like to see another example of this ring being used, this is my the bed runner I made, that my Muka themed bed runner. I have a video on this quilt. It's one of my earlier videos, so I will leave a link to it below if you want to look at the whole thing. But here's where I used one of those rings. And I used the smaller ring, actually, for this. I hope you can see that. So I used the smaller ring, and then I did a row of beads around it, and then I put a big pearl in the middle. So, and it just gives it dimension. It's just something a little different, you know. So yeah, so if you want to see this quilt, it's a very short video, and I will link it below. This is my bed runner that I put on my bed when I remember to make it. So, okay. All right. So to start with, we're going to do this, hopefully, and I'm getting a little bit better with the editing of the videos, so if my battery dies, I don't have to start over. I have figured out how to at least link the two together. I think I'm going to go this week and see about getting a better camera and a better, you know, a whole better setup. But anyway, so what you do is you anchor it first. So I'm going to do 4 anchor stitches, and it's really not hard. It's time consuming, and it does take a lot of your thread. It does take a lot of thread, but, and like I said, it is kind of time consuming, but it's very zen. You know, you don't have to think a lot while you're doing it, and you know, you get this really neat effect for your stitches or for your project. So you just do an anchor stitch, because otherwise, if you don't, I know these things because I learned from doing it wrong. If you don't anchor it, then when you do finally start to just fill it in, it'll move on you and it'll slide. So anchor it down, and then just pick some place. And this is literally all you do. You just fill it in. Now, like, you might have to, when you are done, you might have to come back through. I hope you can see that. You might have to come back through and fill in sometimes if some of your ring is still showing. Like right there, I probably, if it's not filled in completely by the time I'm done, I will probably have to come back and add a stitch or two in there to get that to close together. Whoop. And so somebody asked me on one of my videos how to wash a crazy quilt. I'm going to answer her directly, but I just wanted to put this out there. You don't wash a crazy quilt. The bed runner I just showed you will never be washed. Please do not send them to the dry cleaner. The chemical that they use on it will ruin your quilt. So theoretically, they should never get dirty. You know, I mean, like, I mean, obviously, if somebody does spill something on it, or if your dog, you know, gets mud on it, I mean, obviously, but theoretically, since they're just decoration, they really, really shouldn't get quote-unquote dirty. They will get dusty, however. And what I do with mine, the ones that are, some of mine are not on display all the time, because they're seasonal. Like I have a Santa crazy quilt. I only put it out at Christmas. So for the most part, I just give it a good shake before I fold it up and put it away. The quilts that I have, the crazy quilts that I have out on a regular daily basis, like the one I just showed you, that one is on the foot of my bed during the day when I make the bed. That one, about once a week, I go in and I pick it up and I kind of give it a good little, like that, just to kind of, you know. And if you have to, you can put a pair of pantyhose over the end of a vacuum cleaner hose and kind of go in and just very gently suck up the dust that has collected on them. But you really don't wash a crazy quilt. If you do spill something on it, I do not know what to tell you. You could try maybe a damp cloth or something. It really depends. Now, I do have, okay, so that's how you do that. I'm going to move on to the other stitch while I keep talking. So now we're going to do this stitch here. I do have, like, I made a Christmas crazy quilt for my oldest grandson, but all I did was stitching. There are no beads, there's no laces, trims, nothing like that. It is literally all cotton, and I just embroidered it. That, if you wanted to wash that, I would put it inside some kind of a what do they call it, undergarment bag, you know, like for your negligees and that kind of thing, or maybe in one of those meshy kind of gym bags. And maybe definitely wash it on cold, wash it on gentle, and then do not dry it. Do not dry it. But if it is not 100% cotton, and if you have anything on there that's not just stitching, don't wash it. Just don't. Just, yeah. Yeah, they really are kind of more works of art than they are functional things, you know. Okay, So I'm going to use this line, this crease here, just to kind of show you. So you come up, you're going to use your thumb, and you're going to come over here, and like you're going to do a regular blanket stitch, you know, only you come back at an angle, right this side of your stitch. Now, what we did with last week's or the week before is you came up and you come down like this, right, to get that. Well, with this stitch, I honestly don't know what this is even called. You do the same thing. You come over. You can see that. But instead of coming back over here, you're going to go down in the middle. And then you're going to do it again. And this time, you're going to come on this side. And that's how you get this. So let's see if I can turn around here and do it this way for you. So you go there, and then you come here in the middle, and then you do it one more time, third time, just like that. Now how I did this was I put the pointy ends in here and did the edging out here, so that's how you get that sort of scalloped look. Super simple. It's just a variation on a theme. And again, you can put French knots at the end. You could put beads at the end. You could do lazy daisies at the end. Any kind of, you could do anything you want to vary it. So now for this, the turkey thing. I don't know why it's called that. So I have 6 strands of DMC thread. Okay, the hardest part about this is just filling in your gaps to make sure you don't, that it's kind of even all over. So you come up. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Oh, no, you don't. You don't come up. That's right. Hang on. Oh my gosh, I forget what I'm doing. Okay, so you don't knot your thread. And you're going to go down. So I'm going to do it kind of like over here. So you're going to go down into your thread, no knot, and then you're going to hold on to it. Then you're going to come up. I kind of come up to the side of it, and then go back down on the other side of it, and now you have anchored it. Okay? So then you're going to come up right next to it because you want it to be filled in. Hold that. You're going to go back down in. And then this is the tricky part. Okay, so this is pretty long. You're obviously going to cut that down. So you want to decide about how long you want your stitches to be. So you stop it, hold on to it, and then you come back in with your needle, just to the side of it. Hold on to it so that otherwise it's going to pull all the way through. And then you anchor it to the other side. See? Now it's not going anywhere. And so then what you do after you get them all in is that you go in and you take your scissors and you just cut them. Now inevitably what happens with me, you can see that, I hope. What happens with me inevitably is that I will cut them all, and then I'll see a couple of blank spots, and I have to go, and that is kind of bad because once these are cut like this, it's really hard to go back in there and not catch all these with your loops. So try not to cut these until you're pretty sure you have enough. So hold on to that, don't let it, whoops, oh my gosh, what happened? Did you see that? Okay, we're going to try that again. So hold on to it so that you don't lose it. And then you come up in between the legs there on the thing. They see that? You come in between here and here. And then you go to the outside of this particular one. Go back down in and you anchor it. So now it's not going anywhere. See that? It's fun. This one is a little more intense than doing this, you know. Anyway, then you just go in and you just clip them, and now you have all this beautiful strands of stuff, and then you can decide like how long you want them, and there you go. Isn't that fun? I think it's a ton of fun. Okay, all right, so I think that that is all I have for you this week. So we learned how to do this little circle, the plastic circle, which you should be able to see there. And then the turkey work that goes inside of it. I don't know why it's called that. I don't know. And then how to do this stitch out here is basically just another variation of the blanket stitch. And then I did French knots in the middle. Okay, so that is all for me. I can't believe I got through that. That was first take. Oh, wow. Okay. All right, guys, so February 1st is the draw for all of the people who entered my challenge. I think so far I have 36 names, I think, or 36 entries. If you have sent me an entry to my challenge and I have not received it yet, please let me know that you mailed it. I know of 2 that are coming that have been mailed. So just let me know that you've mailed it, and I will put you into the draw. If you have not seen a video with your entry, then I have not received it. So please just let me know. And that's all for me now. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.